Good afternoon. So I'm going to do my best today to try to explain the cs144 mod on the 3VZE Toyota 3-liter V6. This is a 1995 4runner. There's nothing terribly special. It's got a small lift. It's got too small of tires on it because that's just how things go sometimes. So what the idea of the CS144 upgrade is getting more amperage to run more accessories, and especially like running dual batteries. I'm still putting this one together. The dual batteries are not in this truck yet. It has two light sets on it, but the rest of them, like all my emergency lights for when I'm storm spotting, are not on here yet. My radios aren't in yet. I have so much I have left to do. And I apologize for the moderate or poor quality of the videos that I may put out. I only have a cell phone and it's an old one, so forgive me for that. But hopefully you get the idea and what we're doing. So we're going to move around here to the front. The CS144 is a GM alternator. It is a high output 140 amp alternator in most cases. This one is from a 1995 Cadillac without the heated windshield. Some guys use the ones with the heated windshield, and I don't, or didn't. This is what was available to me. So to answer the first question, why would I go to a GM alternator and go to all the work to convert it to run in a Toyota versus buying like a high output Toyota alternator? Well, the reason for that is the availability. If I have this out somewhere deep in the woods or anything else, I'm not going to be able to just find a high output Toyota alternator at a parts store, but I can find this, and I can use several different versions of the CS144. All I have to do is clock it and adjust the bracket a little. So the first thing you need is the CS144. Like I said, this one is from a 1995 Cadillac. I think it's a Eldorado 4.9 liter. But I don't. In matter of fact, I don't even know where I have the part number for it. But you shouldn't be too hard to find it. It's going to have a problem with spacing back behind this bolt. It's shorter than the Toyota alternator, so you got to take up that space. I used 3 washers to take that space up to bring it all the way forward. As you notice, it's a 4-rib belt, and it doesn't quite fit all of the pulley, but that's because the Toyota uses a 4-rib pulley. There is also, you have to extend the bracket. Let me see if I can get you down here. You have to extend this is the factory bracket over here to your left. That's the add-on piece that I made from a piece of stock I bought at a hardware store. I ground it down to fit the angle I needed, and then I put it in, and I bolted the alternator to it. Sorry, there we go. Bolted the alternator to it, and then bolted that, and it gives actually 2 different pivot angles in there, so it actually worked out really good. The belt I used was a 490 K4. I got that from Advanced Auto Parts. That's what it needed, and I can still have plenty of space to tighten up if I need to. The other thing you need to do is your factory, let's see if I can get you down in here. The factory wire, which is the smaller, not the green one, but the one below it, runs to the battery. That's not really designed to carry that amperage. It will, but it's always best to upgrade. Now, I did do the Big 4 upgrade as well, and I'll show you what that entails. So on the factory electrical connection, it's going to have a hole in it that's too small to fit the CS144. You're going to have to drill that out or put a different end on it to fit over the stud. And then like I did, as I upgraded this wire here from Sky High Car Audio, it's a 4-gauge wire, OFC, oxygen-free copper, and that's going to run around here, and the first stop it's going to make is a circuit breaker. And as you can see, it's a 150 amp circuit breaker. If there any reason this wire back here grounds out or anything else, it's going to trip that breaker and kill the power to it. It runs along in front of my radiator and comes to my quad post battery. This wire here, that's for the winch, and that's what this one is for too, is winch. These on here, this is the ground to the body, ground to the engine, ground to the frame, and then I have another one that's back there that runs up to this here, but my aux beam switch pod, but we'll talk about that later. That's what all this is as well, is running to that. So we have to upgrade that, upgrade your ground system. All your grounds that you would normally do in a big 3, you're going to do all those, plus you're going to run another ground, and I don't know if I can get you in there. Can I get you in to see it? This wire, there's one back there that runs off, and it runs up here, and that's this one here. What that does is that runs from the case of the alternator to the negative post on the battery. What that does is that grounds the other side of the alternator, so you have the positive connected and you have the case grounded to the battery. Now, the other thing you need to do is there's a plug on there. Where is she at? It's towards the bottom. That's a GM. You got to convert the GM plug to a Toyota plug. They make adapters that sell that on eBay. It's like 19 and 20 bucks. Buy that. It's easy. It plugs the Toyota, converts it to the GM, and it plugs right in and does its job. So you're good there. Other than that, you obviously make sure you have the right belt. Make sure you have all the groundings done and properly done. And then, of course, you're going to run it. And you want to make sure that your belt is spinning true, because what you don't want to do is have your alternator cocked one way or the other, or not straight in line, because it'll eat your belt. So you want to make sure you get that taken care of. You can see it runs and connects as a factory alternator belt. It just happens to run that. So if you have any questions or you want to know anything about it, you're more than welcome to message me, or find me on one of the groups. It's not too hard. Just search cs144 mod. But I hope that's helped some people understand what it is and why those of us who do it. Yes, you can buy a high output factory style Toyota alternator. What you can't do is, if it fails on you and you're out in the middle of nowhere, which is where this vehicle is designed to go, out in the middle of nowhere. If you're out there, I can't call the local Napa and say I need a 140 amp Toyota 3VZE alternator. They're not going to have it. It's an online only thing. So that's why I went with this route, and that's why a lot of the guys that do this go this route. So I'm also going to cover some things later on, like converting to manual hubs. There are some videos out there, but there's not a lot going very in depth or answering a lot of questions and seeing a lot. So I'm going to try to do that. This one is also, before I got it back, I've actually had this truck twice. They eliminated the EGR, but you can see all the lines and stuff it's all a mess. So I'm still working on that. And then I'm going to do a video on this sitter, which is the aux beam switch pod. I'll show you the inside of the cab. I've only got 2 of them switched now, and it's mounted there. But as you can see, it's a mess because it's still getting worked on. So I appreciate you guys taking a minute to view it. Like I said, if you have any questions, I guess I could start it up, show you. We'll do that. So, spinning true, functioning correctly, so you're good there. Again, ground, positive, both of them run over, don't forget your switch, fuse, breaker, whatever. You want to make sure you do that. I got the Bravada there too. That's the next project, the wife's Bravada. So that's that. If you have any other questions about anything you see in the video, or just want to follow along just as I give budget ideas, because that's what I do. I don't like spending a lot of money on things. If I don't have to, if it functions for a cheaper cost, that's exactly what I'll do every single time. That's how I ended up with 30s instead of 33s. They were on sale. That's what I got. They will be upgraded at some point, but the money is spent is how it doesn't do any good to be broke all the time. You can't go out anywhere. So I appreciate you guys watching, and you know, give a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thumbs down if you think it's stupid, which I wouldn't blame you. And leave a comment or share the video to anybody that's wanting to do this type of swap to put in a GM alternator into a Toyota. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks.